to episode 1 of my podcast. I'm Adriana, who is your host for today's episode. And here is the place where we will discuss and discover the issues that have always occurred in the educator classroom. Have you ever wondered what type of problem do educators face, how did they handle it, and what techniques that they use to overcome the issue? So without further ado, I would like to introduce my guest for today, which is comes from the same college like me and same faculty like me, which is SAS. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Aisya and I'm currently taking Binti for my bachelor in MSU.
Okay, so since today's topic is about the classroom management strategy and you perhaps are going to be an educator in the future, can you share some of the issues that happen in the classroom?
Well, of course, one of the common issues that always happens in the classroom, especially in Malaysia, is the students are more determined to use first languages rather than their second languages. This could apply to ESL teachers when it comes to English teaching. Students have a lot of difficulty understanding the language as it is not their first language. So it's quite complicated for them. Not only that, some of the students could speak the English language but they kept their mouth shut as they were afraid of getting mocked by their classmates.
Oh, I see. Poor teacher and the student. So, are there any ways to avoid all of this issue?
Yes, certainly. One of the effective ways to encourage the students to speak in the second language is by giving them a penalty. For example, each of the students need to pay 50 cents if they utter any of their mother tongue's languages. And if they continue to make the same mistake again, the amount of cents they need to pay will be increasing. For the students' case, we encourage them by giving motivational words and giving them an opportunity to show their classmates how important the English language can be.
I see. That's such a great way to cope with the issues. Speaking of issues, I also want to share this one common issue in school, which is teachers being biased towards the student. And this issue is also very common among the teachers in our old school or any other school, whereas the teachers have their favoritism toward certain students, especially when the students are very brilliant or have the same attitude as the teachers. And when this happens, teacher will give less attention towards the student and eventually they will lose their interest to study with the teachers. For that reason, I see that a lot of students will do poorly on their homework and on the exam as the teachers are only focused on their selected student only until they forget that the other student also need to observe thoroughly and fairly in the classroom. And if this behavior of teachers keep on repeating again and again, I think students will get less motivation to come to school and because they think that the teachers didn't care about them at all. Is that right, you think?
Yes, I agree with you. Teacher bias is a hot topic among our society nowadays.
And you think are there any other issues you would like to share to the listeners out there?
Well, yes, obviously. There's a lot of issues that involve in the classroom that I bet we can stop talking about it. But since we are short in time, I'm just going to tell you another issue, which is students tend to get bored, inattentive, or unmotivated. Every time the teacher is teaching in front of the class, they think that they have learned is not necessary with their own life, so they will try to sneak out of the classroom or lie to the teacher saying that, oh, I want to go to the bathroom, but in the end, they don't come back. Some of them also purposely didn't come to class or just sleep in the classroom while the teachers teaches in front.
I see. It must be hard for the teachers to always keep control of their student, but in the end, no one listens to them. You think are there any solution to stop all of this kind of the manner activities?
Yes, it is for the teachers. Pity for them also. Well, yes, of course, it has the solution for these issues. Teachers need to use their creative and critical thinking skills on how to attract the students with their learning method. One of the easiest ways to attract the students' attention is bring gamification inside the classroom such as Quiz, Kahoot, Padlet, and 1,000 more website-based games that can benefit the students. Aside from that, engaging with the students while learning is also another way to captivate the students' attention, as it creates a strong memory and bonding towards the teachers, for example, role-playing and singing in the classroom.
Oh, actually, I also agree with your point because in this generation, some of the students will show their interest in their learning directly in the classroom if they got bored with the lesson and whatsoever. And I have another opinion, which is I think the reason students act like that in the classroom is because they were not attracted to the teaching method that the teachers use in the classroom. Most probably when the teacher use traditional teaching method, since the method are only teacher centered and the teacher just read and write in front of the classroom. If this method is compared with the modern teaching method, like nowadays we always use the method. I think students in this generation probably prefer that method because the method requires the student itself to participate in the classroom by giving their opinion about the topics they learn, and we can see that students can work together with their peers. And from this method, I'm sure that students will participate more in the classroom rather than just sit and hear what the teachers teach in the classroom.
Yes, that is absolutely right. I think students nowadays mostly love to participate in the classroom, as most of the learning session will involve technology usage which can attract students' attention in learning.
So we already talked about the issues and how to address them, right? So if it's not much trouble for you, could you have shared any personal experience from your time as a student that relate with this topic?
In middle school, I struggled with using English because my school was Chinese and most students spoke in their native language. Since my friends were also Malay and Chinese, we would speak in our mother tongue when we communicated. Additionally, my school didn't have any classroom presentation activity, as the teaching method involved mostly listening to the teacher without much interaction or student participation.
I get it. It must have been thought to use a different language when everyone around you was speaking something else, right? Do you have any other experiences you'd like to talk about?
Yes, of course. I was often bored in class because the environment in Chinese and Malay school is so different. Just so you know, I switched from a Malay to a Chinese school in 2016 because my family moved and it had a big impact on my classroom performance. I often got low grades on exams, which made me feel disinterested in attending class since I didn't understand what I was learning. But no worries, I'm much better student now.
Yeah, looks like you are having a tough life in school back then. But gladly you are here currently taking degree courses for your studies, which means you did great in your academics. For my experience, I had a teacher who didn't seem to like me because I didn't get the good grades in my class for his subject. As you know, some people are great with numbers, some people excel in language subject, and some can do both. And I'm the kind of student who can do the language thingy, and I'm so struggle in doing the calculation heavy subject like mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And unfortunately, my teacher had his favorite student who he always called in the classroom to answer all his questions and engage with all the activities, which made it even harder for me to keep up in the classroom.
Absolutely. Being biased as a teacher can have a significant impact on students' emotions and confidence. It's crucial to treat all students fairly and give them equal opportunities to participate, learn, and grow. This way, we can create a supportive classroom environment where every student feels valued and motivated to succeed.
Yes, Aisya, we as a teacher also should always keen to find solution on how to be effective teacher in the classroom. And I hope this podcast will be beneficial not only for students but also for educators. With that being said, it is a wrap for today's episode, and see you all next time in the next episode. Bye.
Welcome to Unlocking Motivation, where we explore the secrets of academic achievement. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me today is my co-host, Kunavathi. In this episode, we are diving deep into the world of motivation and its significance for students.
That's right, Jocelyn. Motivation is the fuel that propels students forward on their academic journey. It's what keeps them engaged, focused, and determined to achieve their goals.
Absolutely, Kuna, but let's start at the beginning. What exactly is motivation and why is it important for students?
Okay, motivation is the driving force behind our actions and behaviors. For students, it's what compels them to study, participate in class, and strive for excellence. And without motivation, students may struggle to stay focused, leading to poor academic performance and disengagement from learning.
Okay, now let's delve into two main types of motivation. One is intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, driven by personal development, curiosity, or sense of accomplishment. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation stems from external rewards or consequences, such as grades, praise, or tangible rewards.
That's right, Jocelyn. Intrinsic motivation is like the spark that ignites the student's passion for learning, while extrinsic motivation acts a guiding force, providing incentives for desired behaviors.
So, what set intrinsic and extrinsic motivation apart? While both types influence student behavior, intrinsic motivation is driven by internal factors such as interest and enjoyment, whereas extrinsic motivation relies on external rewards or punishment to drive behavior.
And here is where it gets interesting. Which types of motivation is most appropriate for intermediate level students in the classroom? Okay, well, research suggests that a balance of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation is key. While intrinsic motivation fosters a love for learning and encourage autonomy, extrinsic motivation can provide additional support and reinforcement, especially for complex tasks for challenging concepts.
That's a great point, Kuna. It's all about finding the right balance and creating a learning environment that nurtures both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to support student success.
However, it's important to acknowledge the current issues faced by students due to excessive reliance on extrinsic motivation. When students are solely focused on external rewards, such as grades or prize, they may experience heightened stress, anxiety, and a lost intrinsic interest in learning.
Absolutely. It's crucial for educators to be mindful of these challenges and strive to cultivate a learning environment that prioritizes intrinsic motivation while providing appropriate support through extrinsic rewards. Could you explain further based on any references?
Sure, Jocelyn. So, according to a Gallup study in 2018 by Nina Parrish, it is important to establish clear expectation for behavior and academic performance to provide students with a sense of structure and direction. So, educators are encouraged to utilize positive reinforcement techniques such as praise, rewards, and recognitions to encourage desired behaviors and academic achievements. So, encouraging students to set achievable goals and track their progress, empowering them to take ownership of their learning journey and stay motivated is also being noted in their feedback and outcomes of the study.
That's really a good study that has significant reference to prove our point of these motivations being beneficial to our little Einsteins.
I agree with you, Jocelyn. I hope the audience has enjoyed our talk so far. With that being
said it is a wrap for today's episode of Unlocking Motivation. We hope you have gained valuable insights into the importance of motivation for students and the role it plays in their academic success.
Join us next time as we continue our exploration of student motivation and uncover strategies for fostering a love for learning in the classroom. Until then, stay motivated and keep striving for excellence. Bye.
Hi and welcome to episode 3 where we engage in thoughtful discussion about theories that shape our academic journey. I'm your host Aisya and joining me today is my esteemed co-host Jocelyn. In this episode, we're unraveling the puzzling insights behind learning theories.
That's right, Aisha. Learning theories are like the backbone of education, guiding both students and teachers on the path to success.
Alright, so let's dive right in. What exactly are learning theories and why should we pay attention to them?
That's an excellent question, Aisha. Learning theories are like roadmaps for our brains, helping us to understand how we learn things, retain information, and behave in educational settings. Without them, we'd be navigating through the academic landscape blindly.
Absolutely. Now, let's zoom in on classical conditioning theory. This theory, famously associated with Pavlov's experiments with dogs, explores how we form association between stimuli and responses. But how this relate to learning in the classroom?
Great point, Aisha. In the classroom, classical conditioning can manifest in various ways, from associating positive experiences with learning environments to linking specific cues with academic tasks. Understanding these principles can help educators create conducive learning environments that foster engagement and retainment.
Moving on to operant conditioning theory, pioneered by B.F. Skinner, unlike classical conditioning which focus on involuntary responses, operant conditioning deals with voluntary behavior and the consequences that follow them. How does this theory come into play in educational settings?
That's a good question, Aisha. Operant conditioning is all about shaping behavior through reinforcement and punishment. In the classroom, this translates to rewarding desired behaviors such as active participation or completing assignments on time, while discouraging undesirable behaviors through appropriate consequences.
Fascinating. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The difference between classical and operant conditioning. While both theories aim to explain learning, they do so through different mechanisms. Classical conditioning focuses on association between stimuli and responses, while operant conditioning revolves around the consequences of behavior.
Spot on, Aisha. Think of classical conditioning as learning through association, like Pavlov's bell and salivating dogs, while operant conditioning is more about learning through consequences, such as receiving praise for a job well done or facing repercussions for disruptive behaviors.
So which theory reigns supreme in the classroom? Well, it's not a matter of one theory being better than the other, but rather how educators can leverage aspects of both theories to create effective teaching strategies. By blending elements of classical and operant conditioning, teachers can cultivate dynamic learning environment that cater to the diverse needs of their students.
Absolutely, Aisha. It's all about finding the right balance and applying these theories in many ways that enhance student engagement, motivation, and academic performance.
That's all fun and interesting. However, now on the real side of this topic, we're continuing our discussion on applying learning theories in real-life classroom situations.
That's right. Today, we're diving even deeper into practical applications of these theories. Let's consider a scenario where a teacher wants to motivate students to complete their homework assignments consistently. Drawing from operant conditioning, the teacher would implement a reward system where the students earn points for or privileges for submitting their assignments on time.
Excellent example, Jocelyn. Now, let's explore how classical conditioning can be applied in the classroom to enhance learning experiences. Imagine a teacher who wants to help students overcome test anxiety. By pairing relaxation techniques or positive affirmation with test-taking situation, the teacher can help students associate exams with feelings of calmness and confidence.
That's a fantastic strategy, Aisya. By harnessing the power of classical conditioning, teachers can support the students in managing stress and optimizing their performance during high-stakes assessment. Now let's discuss a scenario where a teacher wants to promote collaborative learning among students. Drawing from both classical and operatic conditioning, the teacher would create group activities where students are rewarded for their effective teamwork and cooperation, fostering a positive learning environment based on mutual support and encouragement.
Brilliant suggestion, Jocelyn. By integrating elements of both theories, teachers can cultivate a classroom culture that values collaboration, communication, and shared success.
And that's a wrap for today's episode, episode 3. We hope you enjoyed this insightful discussion on learning theories.
That's right. So join us next time as we continue to explore fascinating world of education and academic excellence. See you guys next time.
Bye.